What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Gag with Geach. Now, rent is getting crazy out here. You know, people saying they can't afford it and they about to go homeless. So we're gonna get into these gags and see how the people feeling.
A homeowner for 2.5 years now, but I never told y'all why. So about 3 years ago, my husband and I, we were less than a year into marriage, living in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,000 square foot apartment for $1,500. So because we had been living there for almost 1 year, as expected, we got a renewal letter. Child, why was our rent going up from $1,500 to $2,000? 500 US dollars. We're talking about the same apartment with the same floors, the same counters, the same space, and immediately we knew we were not going to stay there, so we started looking at other places.
You know what? That's crazy. Cause $500 and nothing changed. You didn't even come here remodel. Give me a new little piece of carpet. Give me some new tile floors. Give me no new nothing. But you want to raise the rent for nothing. But you know that's just how things go in business and stuff. Looking at it from a landlord's point of view. But she did the right thing. I would have got up out of that too. Cause absolutely not. $500 and nothing to show for it. I'm out.
This was 2022, and in 2022, rent hikes were crazy everywhere. So we decided if we're gonna be paying $2,000, we might as well own a home. Then we realized how incredibly predatory home ownership was. Y'all, there were neighborhoods with waiting lists where you would put your name down on the list and they would call you and you would have 24 hours to tell them whether you want to move forward or not, and you had to also put down your deposit that day. So we ended up having to look outside of our
That was back when the interest rates had dropped real crazy during the C-19 whole pandemic and all that. So yeah, it was a waiting list because I purchased my house, not this one, but my now it's my rental property. Um, and yeah, it was so many waiting lists, and so many bidding wars, and I just did not want to participate in none of that. So I went and bought me a brand new bill because it wasn't no bidding wars on those. So those already stay in the homes. It was definitely a lot of bidding wars and people outbidding each other and paying way too much money for a house that wasn't worth it, and I just wasn't gonna do it. So I went and got me a new construction. That's how I dealt with that.
area and went about 30 miles north, and we came across some new construction that we did like that was reasonable. But remember, y'all, this is not something we planned for. So to get the closing costs, the down payment, all that stuff, we had to temporarily relocate and live with my parents, which is a privilege a lot of people do not have. All of this to say, I'm not someone who's going to advocate for home ownership over renting or vice versa. But I am someone who's going to advocate for affordable housing, rent stabilization, assistance for first-time home buyers, and solutions to the housing shortage. And not to make everything political, but this is on the ballot, and VP Harris has a plan. Millions of Americans can't afford to buy a home or rent a suitable apartment. And because of that, we also can't afford to not vote and not do anything about it.
I just want to show you some things in my mum's rental property that just makes sense, you know? So firstly, we've got this section of the house. This is the 4th bedroom, as the real estate called it. But the problem is you can I could literally almost fit in here. So that's number one. And then number two, I love an accessible property, but I do love how these windows are just, material. Then we've got the front door that doesn't actually close. So, joy. So really this is just a storage area. Next up, we have the outdoor toilet. Love that. It's great for the middle of the night. Also at the back, we have these beautiful windows. Unfortunately, we're missing a couple. Same goes over here, where you can see we've just hung a blanket up to help with that, but we are again missing a couple of windows. And then this is filled with the landlord's things. Oh, I can't even get in there. But this is supposed to be the 3rd bedroom. Heading inside. Excuse the mess, but coming into the kitchen, we have our bucket of water that we use to fill up the kettle or the sink because the taps don't run. We have this wonderful single burner stove.
Now listen, babe, I understand you got to make do with what you got, but this seems like poverty. It seems like some third world stuff. So let's just keep going because I feel bad for them already.
And oven. Love that. And then if you come through to the bathroom, we've got another bucket so that we can use the sink, and then some spare buckets down here just in case. And then, beautiful window, mirror. Hi. My favorite feature though is just this drain that drains directly to the ground outside. Then we have really the only living space in the house. So bedrooms on either side, but completely packed up with stuff. Have more stuff out here because the other bedrooms are full with other stuff. But yeah, that's the tour.
Let me just go ahead and count my blessings and be grateful because what I just saw, baby, I would be so depressed trying to live like that. Now, I did kind of grow up like that, or live like that growing up. Not as bad as that, but so I know how she feel and I can relate to that. But oh, absolutely not. So my heart just goes out to them for living in conditions like that, or anybody that lives in conditions like that.
Denied an apartment rental application because my rent to income ratio was too low. But how does that make sense when every job in this town pays around what I make and every apartment is around as expensive as that one? Like, what's a guy supposed to do? Am I fucked? Am I actually soft locked? I can't make more money. There are no cheaper apartments. That is the ratio. The ratio is set. If that's a deal breaker, I'm gonna be living in my car indefinitely. Like, so that's been my day.
I just got told that my rent is going up by $100 a week. And I live alone, and it already went up by $50 with what feels like...
That would have pissed me off for somebody to tell me your rent is going up $100 a week. Just say my rent going up $400 a month. Stop playing in my damn face. So that definitely would have pissed me off. So I see how she's stressed out because just hearing that part, and then also the caption says that already went up by $500, which was filled with what feels like 6 months ago. Yeah, that would have already pissed me off. Let's see what she's talking about.
6 months ago, but I checked, it wasn't. It was 12 months ago. And I basically have 2 weeks to figure out what I'm doing. And I just don't even know what to do. Like, obviously, everyone is going through this rental crisis at the moment, but I don't understand. I swear, only a few months ago, they were complaining about how there's too many apartments in Brisbane. But yet, why is there not one single fucking apartment for someone who just wants to live on their own and have a car park? Why is that so impossible? And like, I checked the average salary for Brisbane, and my salary is a little bit higher than that. And even I can't find somewhere that's going to be even slightly livable after paying tax and HECS. Anyway, just wanted to see how we're all doing, if anyone else is in the same boat, because I'm so angry. I've lived here for 2 years in the same apartment, and I love living here, and the thought of leaving is really depressing. So, cool.
Okay, do you want to hear the stupidest thing ever? So my fiance and I are moving back in with each other in June, and he got a full-time job with a good salary, and then I have a salary now because I work full-time, and we're moving back in with each other in June, and we're looking for a one-bedroom apartment in Boston, but we're also planning a wedding, and so we have no savings, like $0.00 in savings.
So y'all planning a wedding and y'all don't have no money or no savings? Let's just keep on listening because already off to a bad start.
And so we're trying to figure out like what's the best apartment we can get with like basically no deposit. Well, the problem is in Boston they have something called a broker's fee. And so the broker's fee is normally like the fee that you pay the realtor that's basically equal to like maybe your first month's rent, right? So in Boston you would pay, so let's say it's like $2,000 for a one-bedroom apartment, which is actually really cheap. In Boston, you probably wouldn't be able to find one here for like at least 24, but let's go for $2,000 on the low end. So some apartments will ask you for the broker's fee, the first, last, and security. So that's $8,000 right up front for your first month. Well, we have no money, so we can't put $8,000 up like right then, right there to do that. So our other option is to look at like the quote unquote luxury buildings, which is privilege in and of itself. I get that. And so I looked at that and
So y'all have no money, but y'all other option is to look at the luxury building, and you realize that's a privilege, but you don't have financial privilege. You have no. Let's just go and let it keep talking.
bedroom apartment is, I think it's like $3,500 for like a smaller one bedroom, and there's a $500 deposit, but at the same time it's $3,500 a month. But we can't afford to put down the $8,000 a month, so we can sign a luxury building, which is great, and I feel, that we could do that, but it strains our income excessively because we can't put down the broker's fee. We can put down a $500 deposit, and we could afford to live in an apartment, but afford's kind of a stretch because all of our bills and money would go to rent, which would be more than 30% of our income, which I don't even know who created that, because clearly I've never met anybody that spends just 30% of their rent. Like, mine right now for this shithole box that I live in is, I'm pretty sure, like 70%. Honest to God, 70% of my salary. So now we're in this position where we can't find a place to live that's like but like we can't give you like first and last in security because we don't fucking have it. Like, we literally do not have the money to do it. But if we go into a luxury building, then we're going to be overpaying by $2,000 every freaking month. I literally don't want to live anymore.
Now, I don't never think it's that serious to where you shouldn't not want to live anymore because the things are getting hard, and things is out here getting hard for everybody. Everybody is feeling this economy some type of way. It don't matter how rich you is. We all out here feeling it, but never get to a point to where you feel like you don't want to live no more. But and I don't think she meant that. She meant that literally, but still, even if she did, I know there's probably some people out there that really feel like that. So. But y'all, everything will get better. But anyway, y'all, I appreciate y'all for tuning into another episode of Gad with Geek. Check out some more of my videos, like, comment, subscribe if you would like, and I will holler at y'all in the next one.